This is Moose from Casco Bay, and you're listening to Derby Rocks.
Yo. She's the hottest little deal on 8 wheels, burning like a babe out of hell. Jamming in a block and a little skull knocking, it's enough to make a grown man yell. Go, roller girl, look at that girl roll. Roller derby saved my soul.
Happy Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. My name is Chris Schramm, and I barely made it to the studio here tonight. I am here, though, as is Cashman, as are you. And that can only mean that this is Derby Rocks.
Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate you for hanging out with us. We got a lot to get to. We're bums. We've got a recorded interview. An old replayed interview that's very topical, though. We're going to have, Plummer and Big Sexy from Denver, right?
Yeah, Lenzo, yeah.
Oh, it was Lenzo? I'm sorry. I thought we had Big Sexy on.
No.
Got Big Sexy on the brain. Can't help it. He's a big, good-looking fella.
Sure,
That's a weird way to start the show. Yikes. Well, happy Friday. We are here. We're going to have a couple of our friends that we had on previously. We had Lenzo and Plummer from
some people that might be busy
Denver.
over in England right now or over in UK. So, yeah, you know.
Jeez, there was like a motorcycle outside, and it just, what was that noise? Yeah, that was weird. Yikes. I am not having an awesome start to this show. I just barely. I mean, everything's really fine.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I completely spaced though.
Oh.
And at like 6:44, I was like, oh, I forgot. I have to go do something. You know, it was like I just had like the biggest brain fart. But I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that we're in studio.
Yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. You know, it is Friday.
We made it.
Yeah. And it was, but it was, it's of course the busiest day. So why not?
Sure.
Just with a long weekend coming up, Indigenous People Day is on Monday, and because I work for a school, you know what that means.
Good.
It means again, and also the Bills are playing on Monday night as well.
Sure. Not a bad way to spend the day with it off, and then a Bills game at the end.
Yeah. So, weather is just Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It was in the 40s when I was driving in, and it was 67 when I was coming in here tonight.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the morning, it starts pretty cold, but by the time we get out, it's warm.
But we have a cold front, quote unquote, coming. So, yeah, unfortunately.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So just keep, time to turn the heat on if you haven't done it.
Yeah, it's getting close. No, I got home just today from work, and by the time I got home, we have like the front window open just a few inches, but it was freaking chilly in there, man. So you're not fooling.
No, it's
also, I still have to take the air conditioner out of the bedroom window, so that's got to get done too. But yeah, that's all that.
What will happen is
stuff,
you'll take it out and it'll be like at 90 for a couple of days.
Take it out, it's gonna shoot back up.
Why not?
You're not wrong. But hey, that's the weather report from your pals at Derby Rocks.
There you go. Now you know what it's like in Rochester, New York. So
we hope that you're having a good day.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends are overseas. In
Newcastle. Yeah. I'm watching it and I'm seeing my friends, I see Zeros, roughing that.
Zero.
We've
got a
Gatekeepers
lot
game
of people over there.
Yeah.
MC, a bunch of other officials. We've got Pinky.
Yeah.
It was funny. Our friend Filet official from the Pittsburgh area even donated some money just to have it be called the Filet Official Review. So that's like genius. What a way to donate,
I thought they were joking when I heard that.
It's literally the Filet Official Review.
Yay.
Yeah,
Champs are fun.
It's I will comment on that track and that floor, man. I posted about it in Derby Hell, and I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Because,
it's hard to find out where the track is.
Yeah, according to Grimace, our buddy Grimace, who's over there with Race City, apparently there's 4 different tracks on that floor on top of, pickleball and indoor
I can see the
soccer.
pickleball courts. You can see the squares in it. Yeah.
And in indoor soccer and other stuff. So it is. God bless those the skaters and everybody skating over there. We have so many friends who are participating in their first champs. I'm so excied for all of them, and some good games going on. So
it started off with a bang.
I was not expecting Race City to go down in that game. That was pretty wild. So
it was
good for these UK teams or the teams from overseas who are here to definitely put the work in. It's love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, everything, if you looked at ranking wise, and we do have in front of us the updated scores and everything, so they are in there.
Nice.
There's the one upset which started the whole thing was the Inhuman League beating Race City right off the bat there, and that was like, but everything else fell into order after that, pretty much.
Yeah, it sort of jumped back into place. Right?
Yeah. Definitely. But that's always the first exciting day because you just never know. Like we've talked before with everybody we've had on the show, you don't know. You haven't played these teams all year, and you can only have watched them on video. But until you get on the track, you never know really what's going to happen. And I think we have some big. I'm scared to death that we are going to have some big upsets coming up tomorrow. Or actually, it's a good thing, But
yeah, I mean, I love it. Shake it up a little bit. Show. It's great to see. We don't often get to see the UK teams unless we do, wake up at 4 a.m. or try and catch a stream if they're doing one, even when they have their events or tournaments or whatever. So it's great.
I will say one thing:
these teams get some coverage on a high level and with like 15 Ronins or whatever it's called. Great to see them get their real first taste of like an MRDA
12
game.
Ronins, I think
it's something like that. I forget which number, but
14 Ronins.
Ronin something.
Yeah, so they came in and filled in because one team that couldn't make it, and so they ended up having a scrimmage, I guess, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a regulation game,
but friendly,
a friendly. Right? That's a term they've used quite a bit over there.
Yeah, big time.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, so no, it's been a lot of fun so far.
I will say I loved it because it all happened during the day, and it was like that means
I had it pulled up. I had YouTube up watching the Gatekeepers game today.
Oh man,
as I sat at my desk, so I was definitely there for it.
I'm just excited for seeing tomorrow what we're going to get because we didn't get the Gatekeepers. They were the number 1 seed. Did play today, and
took on the Inhuman League in Game 5.
Yeah.
The Inhuman League, props to them for even putting up 60 points. That's a tough feat against the Gatekeepers. After playing a nail biter against Race, even, so going from just a great team in Race and beating them to having to play the number 1 ranked team in the world. That's just a tough day. So
definitely
kudos to them for a great showing on day 1. But
I could pick all the people that we've had on the show that were in that Gatekeepers game. It's like
half the team.
Seriously,
we just had thighs on. I saw a couple of thigh jams, which was great. Just so much good stuff going on. So happy for our friends. I'm definitely jealous, but
big time. Me too. It's like, and I did text Pinky, and Pinky got back to me. I did not ask Pinky to come on though, because it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the middle of the night.
Yeah,
I think she was saying how she lost her voice.
Yeah,
she's not feeling well.
I did see Zero post a picture 3 minutes ago from outside a castle.
Sure,
so
wasn't that cool? That was a great picture.
Yeah, so that they're still up there.
A lot of stuff going on out there. So good for them. I'm happy everybody's having a good time. As I had mentioned, the reason that we are going to replay the interview with Denver is we had Lenzo and Plummer on the show a little while back, or after. It's almost been a year now, actually. So right after North American qualifiers,
Western Hemisphere.
Yeesh.
You got it.
Western Hemisphere Cup.
Yeah, it was basically champs last year.
Right?
Yeah.
So
They don't count as champs, but it was champs.
No, it was champs.
It was.
It was.
Yeah, and it was. It was from October to October 27th.
So about a year ago.
On. Yeah, awesome. It was right. It was our Halloween show. So
sounds right. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So it's a great interview, and it's fun to listen because it's still what they talk about so relevant about the guys traveling for teams and stuff, and they talked very openly about it.
Yeah, so, there were my questions. I will say I love this interview, and there's a reason that I called it up. Literally that week, I had essentially, like, without saying anybody's name, I had pretty well called them out on one of my Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And for them, like, I know they took it some type of way, but it wasn't even really meant to be to them because all those guys actually do the traveling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a great explanation in this interview of how they see what they're doing and how it's going to help. We were restarting the world, pretty much at that point. So it's like, so it's definitely listen close. It's a great interview, folks.
Yeah. And I love all those guys. So when I, made a comment about like super teams and stuff like that, they did take it a little bit personally. A couple of them, I know Mr. T and stuff.
Mr. T, yeah.
It's all in good fun. Nobody got like spicy with each other, but we all had a good laugh. Like a fair amount of like MRDA people who are in these different groups or whatever, frequently on socials.
Remember when we
had a good time.
Remember when we talked to Mr. T and he was telling us he had to fly 6 hours to go to Vancouver?
Yeah,
to play for the
it was
murder.
Insane. Yeah, when he was. Talking about literally taking like private planes, like tiny planes.
Yeah.
No, and the reason that it was sort of aimed at them is only because they are a fantastic super team made
big
up
time
of
all
people,
stars. Yeah,
they had
won everything
all over the place, and they had won everything.
Yeah.
But they put the work in. They show up. You know, Mr. Like we had just said. Mr. Testosterone. Books the flight, and him and Big Sexy go down and make the travel and stuff like that from Canada to Denver. And same with Plummer. He's obviously
San
a little
Diego,
bit closer, so he can pop
LA.
right
Yeah.
So those guys put the work in. So it's a great interview.
I cannot wait to see them play Manchester tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's going to be.
A cool game.
Oh,
a lot of good stuff. Excited to see the fallout from and pretty wild, pretty unbelievable to think about, but it is going to be a great weekend. Lots to see. We'll talk about it a lot next week or the next time we get to the show. But let's go ahead and hit our week.
I love not even hit our weeks yet because we're so excited about what's going on.
Champs is cool, man. Who doesn't? It's our first time we've had champs since, or what we're actually calling champs
since 2019.
Since 2019.
Yeah.
The fact that these teams, who were also, the top teams then, are still mostly the top teams. It's great. Obviously we love to see some shakeup and here and there too, but it's great to see teams that are still making it work and surviving and still being a top team.
It takes me back because I remember I recorded an interview with Yoshi from the Gatekeepers, and it was like Yoshi's, I think, first time going to champs with them in 2019. So it was, it was just a really, I just remember how excited we were for that in 2019, and it was like, because that's the year the Misfits upset the Gatekeepers at the ECDX. So
for sure.
So the Gatekeepers come in number one, and the number not far behind, I believe, is number two. Or no, actually, the Magic City is number 4. So. If both those teams win tomorrow in their first games, guess who's playing each other?
Yeah, right. That'd be wild. I would love to see that.
Or actually, the Gatekeepers will be playing Magic City if they win tomorrow against Borderland. And Borderland, that's going to be another big question mark.
So if both Magic City and the Gatekeepers win their first game, we'll get a rematch of those two, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It'll be Sunday at 5 p.m.
Nice. That'll be amazing.
Yeah. Actually, no, they'll be playing Saturday night at 7 p.m., which is even cooler because a 7 p.m. game there is noon here?
Noon our time or something like that.
I love it. We get to see everything. Now, when we get the WFTDA champs out in Portland, everything else is going to be the reverse. It's going to be 3 hours the other way. So everything will be much later. But okay, so let's do our weeks. Sorry.
Weeks. No, you're great.
So
because I lost track of time straight up, I got wrapped up trying to set up some Halloween decorations at the house. I didn't even write down, and I knew we were going to replay an interview, so I didn't even write down my week. So no, you're great.
Yeah.
I'm still just getting to my
gotcha. So
go for
and I don't think I have too much to talk about. It's been a busy week. I think last weekend we got together for a pay-per-view on Saturday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Got to watch Bad Blood, which actually was a lot of surprising things that happened in that for the pay-per-view. It was, and it got over.
Fun.
It got over early, so had some nice food. We got to sit there, and Coach Damien came over, and that was a blast. We had a good time. So that started last weekend. Trying to move forward in time. It's been a pretty busy week. Today was like a superintendent's day at the school, and what that entails, that they were going to be having all these assemblies,
meetings, right?
Yeah, and I had to make sure like 5 or 10 rooms were set up with projectors and speakers and places to plug your laptop in to hit the speaker. So it was I was racing around my school district all day today, and It was exciting though, but I will say last night I did go. We had Rock City Roller Derby had a scrimmage, and I came out and was helping out because we didn't have a lot of NSOs out there, and I know certain things like I can do penalty.
Yeah, you know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah, so I went and I did I penalty timed for the the whole it was there were a lot of new skaters that were there, so I got to see a lot of people I had never seen before.
That's fun.
And it was fun. It really was fun. It was like this I want to put my skates on and play in this. Seriously.
Sure.
So that was cool. But that was
your butt back to practice.
Yeah, that was definitely very, very cool. Well, you got a boot camp coming up, right? Mm-hmm. Just thinking, but I was that was
back after it, right?
That was a lot of fun last night. So it was fun to get down. But then these crazy lights here in Rochester. Oh my gosh,
that was cool.
I'm sure everybody's seen it. I know everybody everyone's sick of seeing all the Northern Light shots. But man, last night
wild.
it was crazy. So. And it's not just here; it's like all over the world. People are seeing them.
We got some good shots. We saw like Maloykin, right-hand man's shots from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Of course, our friends pretty much anywhere in the north. I think even some of our Canadian friends
over in England, they're getting it as well. So it's scary because. Northern Lights, are something like it was kind of a mystery as a kid. I was growing up. It's like you'd get them once every maybe a couple of years, but you have to be up in the middle of the night and away from a city and everything.
Right.
But it's like the last couple of weeks around here, it's like fireworks.
Like
It's like what is the sun?
Wild, right?
What's the sun spewing at us? Because that's what it is. It's all the sun is the burst. So that's been like pretty cool. It's going to be like that all weekend too here too. So you'll see probably a lot more of those purple skies, and it's really that this is going on. As long as it's not like destroying our atmosphere or killing the planet or anything, I guess we can enjoy watching it a little bit. But I'm a Yankees fan, and the Yankees have made it to the ALCS, so that means I know. Sorry, so they
That's all right.
Kudos. They still have to win another series if they want to go to the World Series.
They still got 8 more games to win.
Yeah.
To win the World Series.
And right now there's I think is it tonight that Detroit's playing Cleveland for the final spot. So it's like in the Cleveland Guardians, not the Derby team, but the baseball team. They won out in Detroit yesterday to make it to one more game between the two, and whoever wins that will play the Yankees. And then it's interesting. I mean, baseball.
Like playoff baseball is always so exciting.
It is, and it's just it goes on so late at night. Oh. Yeah, but
just like that.
It is. But beyond that, that's it about my week. How about you?
Hey, I don't know. A regular week for the most part. Nothing too crazy this time. We've been doing a lot of cleaning and getting things ready at the house. I'm going to tease that a little bit throughout my week here. And you're welcome to reach out and talk to me if you want. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm just not saying anything quite yet, but we're getting things ready at the house. It was a good weekend, a lot of preparing. We did hang out for Bad Blood. You and Damien, Dick Move came over.
Oh, that's right. Dick came over too. That's it.
Yeah. He was a little bit late, but he came over. And it was a good pay-per-view, like you had said. It was a good time.
I now hear all the things that like the way that the women's match ended. It wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah, it was total botch. She came out way too early, and
so the referee saw her,
saw her, and had to throw it out.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then it was a fascinating pay-per-view. Good time overall. Sunday was pretty cool. I took a drive out to Irving, New York, out in the indigenous lands. It was really nice.
That's right. Yeah.
We had our friends. I had an invite from some of my friends from Team Indigenous to go check this event out versus Queen City. They had a retreat all for a week, a few days at least, maybe not a whole week, but I want to say 4 days. They got there Tuesday or Wednesday or something, and then left Sunday or Monday. But so they did a bunch of practices and team bonding out on native land.
Yeah.
And the venue that they had was cool. It was not even an old hockey rink. It's a box lacrosse facility, and that sort of tracks if you know anything about native or indigenous
reminds
folks.
me of something. We had box lacrosse had their world championships in Ithaca, and a friend of mine who does announcing for Derby actually was announcing on ESPN.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Cool. Congratulates Danielle there. Can't remember. I think it was ECDX I met her, but it was
Gotcha.
but it's like, I was like flipping the channel on Sunday.
That's
and it's
really
like,
cool.
It's like, I know that she was there all week because they had like playoffs and it was Team USA versus Team Canada for the world.
Right.
So box lacrosse is like the same as indoor lacrosse to me. That's what it looks like.
Well, yeah,
always.
I mean, anytime you're playing indoor lacrosse, it's box
Oh,
lacrosse.
okay. So so like when we go to like
The Nighthawks, that's box lacrosse.
Okay, cool. Because it was awesome because they did both the men's and women's world championships.
Sure, yeah. I'm a big box lacrosse fan anyways. I mean, I love all lacrosse, collegiate especially.
Yeah.
A lot of schools out here. Syracuse has an amazing lacrosse program.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, a lot of cool stuff at that event. There were so many friends. Obviously on both sides, we have some friends in Team Indigenous, as well as Queen City, plus a lot of our official friends were out there. Plenty, Dredd
was there. He told me he was there, yeah.
Who else did I see? Bert Hurt.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. Not Queenie. Some other people.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people there. It was great. Good to see everybody. Team Indigenous looked really good. Great to see them play. You could tell that they had, put the work in. Other than that, Sunday was cool. We had a good practice, decent. What else? The Northern Lights was really cool. I did have court this week. I had to go. So let me tell you my court experience.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is from the bite from the concert.
No, different thing entirely.
Okay.
I haven't gone to court for that, and I don't know if I will. They are charging her with assault in the third for anybody who's playing along.
Yeah, remember this from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I did mention the bite incident. Go back a few shows and listen to that, but. Yeah, they're charging her with assault in the third, but something unrelated was the last time I drove to Canada on the way, I literally got a speeding ticket. I could see the border, and I got pulled over by a state policeman. So I had to go to court out there. Whatever, but usually when you go to court for a speeding ticket, they work with you and they plead it down. Usually to something like failure to obey a traffic device, following too close, or some type of other like moving violation. They asked me to plead guilty to jaywalking. Which I did.
Yeah, it's probably less of a fine, too.
Yeah, much cheaper. I was going like 20 miles over the speed limit, so they could have really stuck it to me. But yeah, I have officially been charged and pled guilty to jaywalking.
Now you got that on your record,
Now
man.
that's on my record as a violation, yeah. And now I've got jaywalking on my record.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Stuff's wild, though. We're probably, as a heads up, I might just try and talk till the next couple of minutes.
So we don't gotta come back?
Going to get to the news.
Yeah.
Reach out to us if you have stuff coming up. Definitely reach out to us. But I will say I'm super excited for there's a party this weekend. Where people will shower Double N with love and affection. And I'm very excited for that. Very excited to see all of our friends. It's going to be a great weekend that I will be there and might also get showered at this event that we'll both be at. So it's going to be a great weekend. We'll have Double N on the show, and there'll be a big talk coming up that I'm really looking forward to. If you're not a dummy, you could probably piece it together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Whether you listen on 106.3 WRFZ, whether you pick us up wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or whether you're one of those fools in the chat room on Facebook.com/DerbyRocks hanging out with my mom who loves talking to herself and all that good stuff. We love you.
I wish I could reply back, but we use my phone for
usually I at least like her comments and stuff like that when she writes them in there. But no, thank you for hanging out with us. We love and appreciate you. Do you want to hit a break real quick, and we'll come back and we'll just introduce the interview, and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah,
Sounds great. You're listening to Derby Rocks. This show is a hot mess, but we love you, and we are here. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 3.
a bit more than said, a dashing bit of sweet. What's that thing out there?
Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been a goofy show. Woo! I was wildly unprepared.
No.
We're just letting the cat out of the bag on things. We're pulling the curtain back. We're doing all the goofy things. We're letting the lobster loose on Friday.
Oh my gosh! And we didn't even have to talk roller derby. We had some fun things to talk about.
We hardly talked roller derby.
Yeah.
Box lacrosse, the weather, lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah, we're going to replay a great interview that we had with two folks from the Denver Ground Control, the number 2 seed at this weekend's MRDA Championships taking place in Newcastle, England.
They play. We might as well go through all the games tomorrow.
They've got they played a exhibition game today, so they're going to be the first game at 6 tomorrow against Manchester Roller Derby.
Game 6, 9 a.m. On Saturday. So
I think that's their time.
Is it
right?
Or
is this the converted?
Yeah, this is the converted time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
9 a.m. our time. Nice.
Yeah, I think. Yep. So it's definitely 9 a.m. our time. Yeah, and yeah, that's very cool. And then these are like first games for a lot of people. And obviously is it technically the second round? Yeah. Okay. So it is technically the second round. I will say.
So technically, Denver got a bye because they. What am I trying to say?
The team bailed on.
Thank you. Yeah. So Manchester already beat Disorder, it looks like. So they moved on to face Denver.
Oh, what a game to start! 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we're gonna get Denver against Manchester, who will move on to play either Tyne and Fear or Concussion, who Concussion beat Kent 310-65. So it's been a good first day.
Yeah.
A little lopsided on some of the scores. It's bound to happen. That's all right. But I think tomorrow's going to be a great day of Derby.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're going to cut to our interview with Lenzo and Plummer, both from the Denver Ground Control. Be sure to watch them take on Manchester Roller Derby at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, they
the MRDA Championships.
Just let me just do one more thing. Magic City will be playing Borderland Bandits at game 8 at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then the Gatekeepers will be playing the winner. The winner of that game.
Yeah, that 7 o'clock game is going to be either. It's going to be insane no matter what.
Yeah, Borderland or Magic City will be taking on the Gatekeepers. So write that down, and we're going to, when we get out of here.
Yeah, sounds great. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. We are thrilled and excited to have our friends from the Denver Ground Control, basically MRDA champs now, asterisk or not. We already talked about that. I don't care. They're the world champs. Let's just call it what it is. We've got Lenzo and Plummer joining us. Hey, guys, how we doing? We're doing great. How does it feel? How you doing? Have you taken the medal off yet?
I took it off, just a shower.
Just a shower, fair. I was gonna say you got it on right now. I think so. That's pretty great. I'm a big fan. I love that.
Well, I had kids, so the moment I got home, medal was really there. So they're wearing
Recording in progress.
Love that. Let's just hop right into it now that I'm recording like an idiot. Lenzo, we've had Plummer on the show before, so I got to learn all about you, buddy. Let's hear your origin story and how you got involved in roller derby.
Yeah, so back in 2013, I had a friend who was playing, and she knew that I, was ice skating a lot, and she said, you should come out and try playing. At the time, genders were really separated, so the only way I could play was Renegade. So actually, I see Christian Slaughter in the comments right now, so a little shout out to him.
Right.
So I put on skates on a Wednesday night, and then next thing I know, I'm in a bout on Sunday. And of course, it's against Rolomite.
Sure.
Keystone State had a Renegade team. That was where it all started, was with Renegade. And then 2015 moved to Denver, started skating with them, and really building the team, helped them with their first win to get MRDA sanctioned.
Nice.
And that was actually against Mr. T, so that was pretty cool.
Wild how that happened.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. you play against people, and then you had talked about earlier about like how many friends you have, and the people that you make connections with. That's the coolest part about the sport. 2018, moved back to New York for a while. Then COVID hit. And then I moved to Buffalo for a little bit. Derby was starting to kick off. Went and skated with Toronto for a while and started to get that fire again. And then decided I was going to move back to Denver and see this thing through.
Nice. Did you play any other sports or anything growing up?
I was a diver. Not a good one, but
That's fascinating.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then like pond hockey.
Sure. So you had a fair amount of skating experience before you joined Derby?
I wouldn't say a ton. So I like my like freshman year of college, my friend was like, hey, like come over and like start playing some pond hockey, put on skates, and like instantly just fell in love with like the feeling of skating. So like bought myself the cheapest ice skates I could, found any patch of ice and started skating.
Nice.
And then put on quads, and it transferred right over, and I couldn't get enough quads. Like I just skated everywhere. It was great.
Awesome. Taking to Derby, and so being able to skate and like taking to Derby and getting hit and doing plow stops or turnaround toe stops and stuff, it's all entirely different things. How did you take to Derby in the beginning when you maybe moved past Renegade and got into a little bit more structured play, I guess, let's say?
It was a little bit of a transition, right? Doing like a turnaround toe stop. Like once you do it and you start getting used to it, like it clicks.
Yeah.
But like trusting yourself to go backwards and go up on the toes like Michael Jackson is a little bit of a scare and something that you're not used to. And then I never thought that, like when I saw people doing like hockey stops on skates, I thought it was like magic, like that you can actually get wheels to chatter. Like rubber doing a hockey stop didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then I figured out I had the wrong wheels on because everybody starts in poisons.
Yeah.
Facts. And then I got some harder wheels, and then I was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to feel. So
nice.
But I would say like I didn't perfect my plow stop, and I still haven't. But
I was gonna say I still can't plow.
Yeah, I say like this year was the first time I had a coach, Misty Maven, yelling at me enough to do them correctly, and I appreciate that.
Sure. Plummer, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. It'll be nice to catch up. Nice to actually have met you in person. What's been going on? How's life?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Isn't it, though?
I mean, aside from like the amazing weekend I just came home from, I mean, everything else just feels like, how do you top that?
Right. Yeah, so you have like a whole bunch of kids now, right? Yeah. Awesome, love that. How's the family? I know we chatted a bit about that, but everything's going well.
Yeah, we're hanging out.
I love that.
I love that we get to keep skating as like essential in our family.
Yeah.
My wife works for 888-187.
Very cool.
So obviously there's so much roller derby, quad skating happening there. Luckily we're both remote, so we get to travel if we need, for roller derby. And I think kind of getting older, of course, you lose space for things that you love, but when you have a life that lets you keep the space for things that are important to you, kind of makes becoming an adult a lot less painful. You don't look around and you're like, oh, I'm in the grind. I am in the grind. Yeah, but I also can...
But you got a drum set, so that's pretty cool.
My kid has a drum set.
Oh, all right.
5 minutes in the last 6 months.
Sure. All right. Fair. Let's talk about your transfer to Denver. I believe Cash and I were talking before. I think you were with the Golden State Heat for a little while.
Yeah. So I'll start from. I've skated with Denver's my fifth team. And it sounds a lot worse when you say it like that. But when I explain it, it'll make sense.
I was going to say, it's not your fault.
Part of it's not my fault, but part of it's also my own doing, right? Wanting to make things happen, right? For only myself, but for folks who were in the area. So I started skating 2018, 2012. I was living in DC at the time, so I started with Farm City Homicide.
Right.
That was a good time. Ended up moving back to Los Angeles. I skated with Drive-By City Rollers for a time. And I'll loop back to this story, but Drive-By ended up becoming Golden State Heat.
Right.
So that team is more of an evolution. Skated with Drive-By for a bit. Los Angeles still. I live in Los Angeles. And then I decided I wanted something a little bit more competitive. I wanted to challenge myself to play at a higher level, skate with different folks. So I transferred to San Diego, which is still California. So I've always skated in California. I did that for a couple years. And honestly, I hated the drive. I hated driving back and forth. It was like a 2.5, 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
I had to do that like once or twice a week.
Sure.
And so at some point you're like, oh my gosh, I'm done. So that's when we realized Golden State, right? We had some folks in LA, we had some folks in Bakersfield, and said, let's just come together and let's just create this team that we think could really make a statement. So we skated with Golden State. So we started Golden State. We had a great season, of course, and the pandemic hit. And so that kind of put that to the side. And I'm kind of moving topics, but I was done with Derby after the pandemic. Obviously, I went into COVID with 1 kid and I came out with 3. Do the math. Ultimately, I was done, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to really set something up. And there's a lot of labor when it comes to like the administrative part of roller derby.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done that, you don't know how much work it is, and that's how it's really a part-time job. Tack on. I didn't have the bandwidth to do that, So I remember Chet reached out and he was like, "Hey, you want to skate?" And I was like,
"Yeah,
I'm done, dude." Then I thought about it, went to a practice, I met all these great folks, and honestly, like, I was here for. I didn't really like know what the season would be, but I was here for the season regardless, and it's been like honestly, just some of the most fulfilling skating I think I've done. I think mostly because I thought I had lost it, right? And so to have it back in this form was just like an unexpected gift.
Sure. Yeah, now you've got a gold medal. Pretty sweet, right?
Pretty sweet.
Love that for you. I'd love that for you.
So you also, didn't you qualify for Team USA also right before the pandemic too?
Yes.
Yeah.
December of 2019. Tried out for Team USA, made the final charter, which was, to me, I mean, it was the pinnacle of, I think many of us who skate, of course, think like I'd love to skate at the highest level of this sport. And I think that goes for any sport, right? Unfortunately, obviously, that World Cup was postponed, I put some feelers out to say like, hey, can we bring this back, to hopefully revive it. So we'll see what happens.
If there's another tryout process, do you intend to go through that, or are you just hoping like, come on, guys, I was on the last team?
I personally love tryouts.
Sure.
First of all, getting to skate with folks that you never get to skate with,
yeah,
and like really being challenged to skate at the highest level and having to prove that over time. That's to me is like that's the journey is the most important part to me. So if there was a tryout, absolutely, I would be the first one there.
Fair. All right, Lenzo, let's talk about your return to Denver. You had mentioned coming and playing with Toronto, and you were in Western New York for a while out here. Was there something other than just getting back to playing with Denver that really brought you back out there? Or did you take a new job, or how did you ultimately really end up back out in Denver asking the tough questions here?
Yeah, so I actually have a fully remote job as well. So like traveling and being able to work from any place that has internet.
Yeah, right.
Offered me that opportunity. But I still had like a skating family out here, and there was I can't remember exactly what the tournament was called, but it was basically like the big high level tournament that was out here in February or March 2022. I visited and I was like, oh, man, I like just really miss skating like at this level and with these folks. And at the same time, like I just miss the sunlight. Like I miss Denver and the weather. like Buffalo was great. I love the hometown feel of Buffalo,
Sure.
like they're a city of good neighbors. But
Yeah.
man, the upstate New York and being under the constant drear, like just affects my mental health so much. So that was one of the biggest reasons, is like there are a couple things that I still wanted to experience in Denver and Colorado itself, outside of Derby, that I wanted to come back for. But then having the team and the people that I started this like journey with in the MRDA realm, like that's where I wanted to come back to.
Awesome. Great answer. Let's talk about this weekend and your thoughts and feelings coming into the weekend. How was the vibe? How was everything feeling? What was like the team's thoughts coming into the big weekend at Western Hemisphere Cup?
I think that we came in just ready as we could be. I think we started to really believe in ourselves, like during sibling rivalry, during that game of Gatekeepers, and I think even maybe a little bit before that, when we, through our training and seeing, like, I guess like there was a moment in RollerCon where I was like, I could pick out Denver players, because Denver as a league has a lot of really strategic and smart Derby players and we fostered this culture of like really showing and everything that we've learned, and also trying new things and being in a safe environment to try those new things. So I think going into the weekend, we were able to be like, okay, we've practiced, some new things that we think are going to be effective, and we're just going to go out there and really play. I think during the weekend there was some, there were some storylines there, but I think overall, like,
Sure.
I think overall, like, we came into the weekend just like, we're just going to go out there and play our best. And like, that's what we ended up doing in the last game. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let me ask a question. How important was it to have someone like Misty Maven coaching you, someone who had won multi-championships with Gotham?
Oh, I mean, super important. Denver, like, ground control as a whole has been completely blessed with having like some of the best coaches. We had Disco, who started the team. We had Rabies, who was like her sidekick, and then Misty Maven was able to take over with us having like this foundational mindset, and then just Misty Maven, along with the captains, were able to just like really foster like, this is our game plan, and these are the things that we need to focus on. She was she's a skills-based coach, like just like her clinics. And there's some people who, didn't love it at first, but then understood like, yeah, I'm older and I'm a veteran of the sport, and I still need to get better at my foundations, which just like built from there. So like just having that strategic mind was great.
Awesome. Plummer, let me ask you, did you feel pressure on hopping into such a high-level team, and was there like pressure to perform coming into the weekend?
It's an interesting question. I think there was two things that were like top of mind for me. Not only was it pressure mostly for myself, and I'll kind of get into that in a second, but I think what was top of mind for me was like wanting to make sure that I helped, that I was an asset, right? And like I brought value to the team, because this team had a history but long before I existed. And
right.
So I think when I thought about skating with Denver, I think we've all seen like teams implode with satellites, and that kind of impacts the team culture, the trajectory, where they're going. And so I was cognizant of that, like wanting to make sure that I build and maintain relationships with folks, wanting to do my part even though I'm remote, to like being a part of growing this team in a meaningful way. And I mean, there's a reality that there are folks who skate great with the team who are maybe not on the charter, who are not on the roster. And there's a whole experience around like their skate time and how it can feel having someone come in So those are kind of all things that coming into my head is like, how do I make my transfer here meaningful, but also how do I build relationships and build a league on top of that, right? Because it's important to me, right? I think we're so sparse with like recruiting and having folks like every single person that's a part of that league or practices, like I want to be a part of making sure they stay there. So I think the first part is like the pressure for myself, because I had stopped skating for 2 years, like I gained like 50 pounds. I had 2 kids and I was not the nimble person that I felt like I used to be before. So a lot of it was like getting used to like what my new body does or what my new body doesn't do or how I approach the game. So that's been kind of a journey for me, is like getting used to many things, right? Not practicing every week, having multiple responsibilities. So luckily having a team that was like so gracious and so flexible, but also like having a roller derby house that obviously kept it front of mind for me to be like, okay, these are my goals. Even if I'm not there, like I need to crush my goals remotely, whether it's like doing cross training, etc. Those are top of mind for me.
That's great. Awesome answer. Lenzo, let me ask you, I'm going to hop back to you for a second. So let's talk about halftime in that final game. You go back to your locker room. What do you say to the team at that point? What's the thoughts? What's the feeling? I think you're up quite a bit at that point. I mean, but it's the gatekeeper, so it maybe isn't a safe lead. Let's talk about how that halftime went.
Honestly, it was pretty quiet in the room. The coaches and captains didn't say a whole ton because there wasn't much to say. It was just really like, just smile through it.
Sure.
Like, just stay the course. We were just in this like flow state of like not getting overreactive to penalties or freaking out about our own gameplay. Like things were just going right, and it's just like, just hold on to that. Don't clutch it. Don't cling on to it too hard, and then don't take your foot off the pedal. It's just like, just stay in that state. I think once we came back out, like back to the track, like even the entire venue was like quiet. I think everyone was just like, just don't say anything, don't do too much, don't get too hyped, don't get right, like don't focus on the end state, like just stay in that zone that you're in. And I think that's where everything was.
I'll even add to that too. I remember Chet and I were sitting watching what was he watching? I forgot what he's watching. We were eating cookies. It was like 2 a.m. and we're like, my strategy for tomorrow is to win the penalty game. I'm going to make sure that I get less penalties than, like ideally the team that we were playing. And I think multiple times, Dom, when we were going out there, because I'm fortunate enough to be on the same line as Dom and Chet, was like, we come out together, we leave together. Nobody gets a penalty. And that was kind of like our MO every time.
No, I love that. It's like it's like Bad Boys, We go in together, we come out together. I love that. That's really funny. That's good. No, and I think it's like little things like that.
Typical strategy, but it works.
Yeah.
It worked.
Remind each other, hey, let's all do the thing and go back to the bench and rock on.
Speaking of penalties, Mr. Testosterone picked up 3 quick ones right in the beginning of the game. Did that change the strategy at all?
Strategy-wise, we took him out of rotation a little bit, especially once he got up to 6.
6, yeah. In like the first half of the first half.
Yeah.
So we started rotating in Stelly and Reno and Sweet Feet even more.
Yeah.
But honestly, like one thing that we noticed earlier, like a bunch of players we had like on 6 penalties in our first or second game, but as we got down through the bench, like they performed, right? Like it wasn't just our quote unquote starters or typical rotators. Like we trusted the team and like could see like, oh, like we don't have anything to worry about. And even
testosterone was like, man, like it's not just about me right now. Like it's like everybody's performing. Like he wasn't sitting on the bench like complaining or anything like that. He was just like, he waited for his turn to like, okay, I'm back in this. Like let's go win this. So I think that was like the best part was like, even though we lost some, you know, people who are like some of our strongest skaters throughout the weekend during games, is everybody else stepped up and just performed and made it so that, you know, nothing was going to just derail us. It was great.
Awesome. How, what's going to be, and I'm sure you guys haven't discussed it at length or anything yet, but what's the game plan moving forward? How do y'all intend to stay on top?
I think right now we're going to keep reviewing our footage and seeing what worked, and then just perfecting on it, because, right, we didn't play the perfect game. And there's a lot of things that we could have done differently to make things even better for us. And right, other teams are going to start, right, looking at that footage too and coming for us. So just really building the team and saying like, okay, this worked, what can we do better? So practicing a little bit more often if we can together. Not that we didn't, but I mean, even more is going to be better. And then just trying to be the smartest derby players out there, I think is what's really helped us in the long term. It's just knowing the game in and out.
Awesome. Plummer, let me ask you, you had mentioned, you know, I don't want to call it a surprise or anything like that, but it seems like you were content with, you know, stepping away from Derby. You joined Denver. You end up going through this crazy season. You win it all. What's your goals? What's your plans moving forward? Have you given much thought to if you're going to continue on with Denver and ride this out for a while?
I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, they're stuck with me at this point. It's etched on my body forever.
Sure.
Literally.
Love that.
I think this weekend, it was not only this weekend, it was the whole season. Like, these folks are really great. Like, it was so fulfilling to just be with them, and I look forward to every trip that I had. I mean, I have no plans to not keep skating with these folks or even skating, you know, entirely. And I think, to Dom's point, like, we did a lot of really great stuff, not only like this weekend, but this season. And I think part of this next phase is for us to like, okay, what worked, what didn't, and how do we double down on the stuff that was really excellent? So I think that's next for us, but yeah.
Awesome.
We're in it for the long haul.
Sure. No, and I'm excited to see where you guys go. I'm going to ask you each what you think the future of roller derby looks like, and I'll start with you, Plummer.
That's a tough one.
Isn't it, though?
I'm going to pass to Dom first. Let me noodle.
I love that. It's like the showcase showdown. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, pass.
All right, Dom. Let's hear. What do you got, bud?
All right. Let me. So I'm not the most hopeful for the sport in general of where it's going to go. I think we're recycling folks right now. We're not building a really good culture overall. I think there's a lot of people who are right. Derby drama exists, and it exists all over. And leagues are run not the best all over. And I think a lot of people are scared to come back. And like people who did retire are like, oh yeah, this is why I retired.
Yeah.
I think our organizations don't get along enough and are producing the right product. That goes for both MRDA, WIFTA, USARS, right? Like we're not promoting the sport as a
whole.
It's not commercial enough. Personally, right? It's not advertised. It's just right. They're governing bodies and they're trying to govern. I think MRDA did have a change in some leadership. So I mean, I am excited to see if the next leadership is going to help grow the sport. But I think right now, like I hope people are getting excited, right? We had, champs again, and like we're gonna travel next year to Europe, and I hope teams can keep growing, and especially internally. I know, there's obviously some salt about, Denver having satellites, but I mean, these guys travel in for weeks on end to travel with us, so I don't really consider them satellites. They don't just show up at the event. But I did see an argument against it, saying like, satellites is kind of how we're keeping the sport alive. And, I don't want it to be that way.
Right.
I want people like from the juniors level to want to continue. We had a lot of juniors this year in Denver who, saw what adult derby was like and got burnt out because there's a lot to it. And there's a lot of money. There's not a lot of financial support. So we're all doing this on our own to try to, to keep it afloat and hopefully grow it. Personally, like, I hope that changes. I really do.
Yeah.
But as the current state, I'm not the most hopeful, and I hope I'm not too pessimistic.
No, I think that's honestly one of the most accurate and honest. I've asked 100 people that question, and that's the most accurate and honest answer. Whether it's WFDA and MRDA and USARs, like you had said, or whether it's individual leagues within their own cities who are butting heads, and it's just not enough to keep it going. And unfortunately, I have a lot of the same problems that you just listed. I'm trying to steal skaters from Queen City and Ithaca and X, Y, and Z so we can put a charter together to have a team for 2024. So you were accurate. Yes. Yeah. Very, very. That was honestly an incredible answer.
That was a great answer.
Yeah.
Very introspective.
Yes. What about you, Plummer? Do you got anything to add on?
I mean, how do you follow up on that answer?
It's really tough. Yeah.
What he said.
Yeah. Right.
I think, to Dom's point, it's like we're still in like this weird rebuilding phase. Like, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of hopes more than I have like a lot of like I think this will happen. My hope is that like as folks see these tournaments happening and people skating, that they feel inspired, right? I hope that we have folks who are inspired, who are builders, who want to build leagues out and do that work. I think that number is very, very small, and it's always been done by the folks who are in the sport for a long time. And I understand it can feel like a big task to do so, but I hope that folks feel enthused and excited to build. And I think one thing that's I really love seeing is where we've created less barriers for folks to skate, whether they can skate on multiple charters, tournaments that are WTDA or MRDA, but also include other like pickup teams.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely feel like the way we continue growing the sport is by like letting people have the freedom to skate where they want, because I think that does keep teams alive long enough to recruit additional folks.
Right.
If you have no team, you can't recruit, right?
Yeah.
And if your team is temporarily made up of folks who are coming in and out, at least you have something where folks local can join. So I think that's my hope, is that we see less barriers to skating.
Awesome.
And hopefully that follows up with, actual leagues.
Yeah. Great answer by you as well. Thank you both for coming on the show. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to let you both go. I really appreciate it. Congratulations, world champions. You did it. I'm really proud of both of you. It was great to see. It's kind of a new era now moving forward. We'll see how it goes, but thank you both for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take it easy, guys. Talk soon.
Thanks, Schramm.
See ya.
RochesterFreeRadio.com, WRFZ 106.3 FM.
Rochester Free Radio, broadcasting from the Key Lock Business Park in Cornhill. WRFZ LP Rochester, 106.3 FM.
The following program on WRFZ was recorded earlier for presentation at this time.
I can't believe that. I deleted that, but sorry about Derby Rocz, though. Not finishing up, the program flips over automatically at 59:29, so it didn't give us much time to close out the show. And in any event, I'm ready to go. We just had, let's see, what is it that we just had? I'm trying to find my material here. There we go. No, wrong one. Sorry. That's not the one we want. This is the one we want. And in moments, we'll be up rocking and rolling for your dining and dancing pleasure. So let's see. All right. Okay, we're getting there. All right. So Bix and I are here. We dashed over. And I want to thank the good folks, Derby Rocz, for another interesting show. I like the interview part, and usually they have something that summarizes what's occurred in terms of competitions, and I always find that interesting to hear because when I was a kid, roller derby was a big deal, and there were big tree-like women and big bruising-like guys, and they had men's and women's and rolling around and flying elbows, and I don't know if that exists now, but that's my memories of it. That and what they used to call wrestling, wrestling with an R. You see it on television with the wide world of wrestling or whatever it is they call it now, that hokum of performance art. This is, as you probably guessed, Remembering the Future. My name's George. You're listening to WRFZ FM, Rochester. We're at 106.3 on the radio dial, and you can get us online at rochesterfreeradio.com.